Esta é a história da guerra dos Estados Unidos com o Vietnã e de como começou. A história do Vietnã está repleta de conflitos e grandes disputas dinásticas que conduziram à fragmentação do país durante séculos e à entrada de influências vindas de diferentes culturas.
The idea that there's been one people called the Vietnamese throughout the last 2,000 years is a bit of a modern invention.
Após séculos de guerra no Vietnã, a que teve início em 1955 seria notícia por todo o mundo e duraria 20 anos.
America say that they're fighting an army of peasants. So how could they possibly lose? However, these people culturally know about war much better than any American does.
Uma guerra que os Estados Unidos considerariam necessária na sua luta contra o comunismo.
These very intelligent men really thought that it was the beginning of the communist takeover of the world.
There was a genuine, basic misinterpretation of what the threat that communism held for the United States and the rest of the free world.
That's one of the really astounding things about the war, that such intelligent men could have been so wrong.
The Tet Offensive, the fact that the Viet Cong had entered the American embassy in Saigon, caused a great deal of damage. It did turn American public opinion totally against the war.
The protests were not even so much the soldiers as their mothers. Because what the hell is my boy doing in Vietnam?
A destruição provocada por esta guerra ecoa ainda hoje. O Vietnã é a história de dois deltas fluviais principais, o delta do Rio Vermelho a norte e o delta do Mekong no sul.
The three geographic areas of Vietnam were first settled, as far as we know from the archaeology, by three different ethnic groups. The Vietnamese in the north, the Cham people in that central coastal strip who belonged to various kingdoms known as Champa. And then the Mekong Delta was settled earliest by Cambodians. The Cham people came actually from across the sea, probably from the north coast of Borneo, and they were great sailors and seafarers and traders. And they speak a language that's related to Malay. And they developed their own civilization in central Vietnam, largely influenced by Hinduism and, to some extent, Buddhism as well from India.
They used to be the dominant kingdom, or the dominant political society on the South China Sea. For 5 or 6 centuries, it was the Sham that controlled trade on the South China Sea.
Comércio esse que se expandiu da Europa até à China e que levou à chegada de comerciantes ocidentais e muçulmanos, oriundos da Índia e do Médio Oriente. O reino de Champa converteu-se lentamente ao Islão. Já o cristianismo começou a ganhar importância nas regiões central e norte.
Full-scale war broke out between the northern and the southern Vietnamese kingdoms. Part of their weaponry came from trading with the Westerners, so that the Dutch would supply weapons to the Trinh in the north, and their ships would cross over the Portuguese ships supplying weapons from Macau near Hong Kong to the Nguyen family in the southern kingdom.
Those are the first European contacts, but they were rapidly followed by the Dutch and then the British and the French. Before the Europeans arrived, and throughout this period, there were flourishing local, quite sophisticated communities and societies, often with cultures that had borrowed elements from religion to the way that kings ruled to political organization from India more than from China.
As interações do Vietnã com a Europa levaram a que missionários católicos, principalmente portugueses, chegassem ao país. Mas foi só após a chegada de missionários franceses em meados do século XVII que a influência destes se fez sentir no Vietnã. O mais influente desses missionários foi Alexandre de Rhodes. Alexandre estudou a língua do Vietnã e criou um dicionário vietnamita francês. Isto abriu a língua à influência estrangeira. Graças aos franceses, cada vez mais vietnamitas trocaram o confucionismo pelo catolicismo romano. Enfurecido, o imperador ordenou a execução de muitos missionários. Isto marcou um ponto de viragem nas relações, que deixaram de ser comerciais e amistosas para se tornarem agressivas. Usando a execução dos seus missionários como desculpa, os franceses invadiram o país. Como não possuíam territórios na Ásia, ao contrário dos britânicos na Índia, dos portugueses nas Filipinas e dos holandeses na Indonésia, os franceses decidiram ocupar o Vietnã e estabelecer aí uma colónia.
There was this constant tension between different regions of Vietnam, and the French arrived in that context and indeed conquered Vietnam piecemeal.
Por volta de 1860, os franceses conquistaram a zona perto de Saigão. Nas 2 décadas seguintes, avançaram pelo centro e pelo norte do Vietnã. Os exércitos franceses expandiram o seu controlo sobre as 6 províncias do delta de Mekong e formaram uma colónia conhecida como Conchinchina.
They divided the country into those 3 regions, which it had never been divided into before.
França assumiu o controle total do Vietnã e criou a Indochina Francesa em 1887. Em 1893, o Camboja e o Laos foram adicionados ao Império. Nos anos seguintes, a influência francesa viria a ter um papel crucial na formação do Vietnã. Durante toda a sua história, o país fora invadido por várias dinastias e, em finais do século XIX, o Vietnã ficou à mercê da ambição francesa. Anos de guerra civil levaram à divisão do Em 1884, França assumira controle total sobre o Vietnã e criado os territórios de Tonkin, Annam e Conchinchina. França queria submeter o Vietnã à legislação francesa e a cultura francesa depressa começou a percorrer o país.
The French conquest was in fact supported by some Vietnamese, including Catholics, but also some others who thought that the French could bring modernization to Vietnam. So there were some Vietnamese who sided with the French, and including some who benefited economically. They were distributed lands in the south, particularly in the Mekong Delta. So a new landlord class developed.
Com a expansão da influência de França, a burocracia e a arquitetura francesas também começaram a surgir nas cidades. Construíram câmaras municipais, tribunais e escolas. Foi implementado um sistema educativo para os expatriados, que rapidamente se tornou popular entre os habitantes locais mais abastados.
In Hue, capital of the Annan section of Indochina, the Japanese, always so polite, do not disturb the semblance of ancient rule, likewise carefully preserved by the French colonial administration. In a modern home built for her by the French at Dalat, the Empress of Annan brings up her 3 attractive children in truly royal atmosphere. She accepts with oriental resignation the obvious facts of the situation.
It was clear to parents that if they wanted their children to rise in the bureaucracy and get positions, they needed to know the newly adopted Latin alphabet, which came to be known as Quoc Ngu, or the national script. And so the Vietnamese culture became internationalized in a way it hadn't been before. And at the same time, a new familiarity with Western political ideologies, including communism.
Foi neste clima de educação francesa que cresceu Ho Chi Minh, o homem que alteraria a história do Vietnã para sempre. Quando era novo, Ho Chi Minh queria ver o mundo, pelo que arranjou emprego num navio como tripulante. Viajou até os Estados Unidos, viveu em Londres por algum tempo, onde se diz que trabalhou como cozinheiro, e viveu em Paris. Aí, apelou à independência e à concessão de direitos civis ao povo vietnamita, então sob o jugo francês. Quando os Estados Unidos, presididos por Woodrow Wilson, recusaram, Ho Chi Minh ficou desiludido, o que intensificou o seu zelo comunista. Depois, Ho Chi Minh passou algum tempo na Rússia e na China antes de ser preso por Chiang Kai-shek. Entretanto, a sua reputação crescia no Vietnã e, quando regressou em 1941, era considerado um herói.
He was very much a man of the world. He'd been educated by the French. He'd travelled around the world as a sailor, worked as a chef in London. In the Paris peace talks of 1919, he turned up at Versailles and demanded freedom from French colonialism for the Vietnamese people and was thrown out.
Ho Chi Minh was a member of the French Socialist Party, which split in 1919, and he joined the communist faction which founded the French Communist Party.
Na Segunda Guerra Mundial, em junho de 1940, a França fora derrotada pela Alemanha nazi. O governo de Vichy, em Paris, cedeu de imediato o controle de Saigão e Hanoi ao Japão. Os nipónicos exerceram de imediato o direito de enviar soldados para o Vietnã para bloquearem o transporte de materiais de guerra através do país para os aliados. Depois de ser libertado da prisão na China, Ho Chi Minh regressou ao Vietnã para liderar o movimento independentista do Viet Minh, que iniciou um combate contra as forças de França Vichy e do Japão.
During World War II, Ho Chi Minh would return to China and with General Giap and others set up a communist resistance who fought the Japanese. In 1945, they'd taken over the north part of Vietnam. The south was liberated by the British, who, to justify taking back their own colonies in the Far East, rearmed the Japanese to hold the country until the French turned up to reoccupy South Vietnam.
The Japanese and the French were very anti-communist, and the Vietnamese Communist Party had been founded in 1930 by Ho Chi Minh. He and the other Vietnamese communists rejected both the Japanese and the French, and they were the only large political party in Vietnam which did oppose both the French and the Japanese. But at the end of the war, when both of those groups lost, the communists led by Ho Chi Minh were in a stronger position to take over.
I remember that many people at that time talk a lot about Ho Chi Minh, who they call Uncle Ho. At that time, everyone thought he was somewhere, like up there, going down to hell. But obviously, he also a human being with some kind of ambition of his own.
O povo via em Ho Chi Minh um grande patriota e estava disposto a apoiá-lo. Os vietnamitas estavam cansados de serem dominados primeiro pelos franceses e agora pelos japoneses, pelo que lutaram pela sua liberdade. Ho Chi Minh orquestrou muitas ações militares bem-sucedidas contra os franceses e depois contra a ocupação japonesa do Vietnã durante a Segunda Guerra Mundial. Para tal, contara com o apoio secreto dos Estados Unidos por intermédio do Gabinete de Operações Estratégicas.
Ho Chi Minh had meanwhile formed an alliance with the United States and was rescuing French and American pilots who were shot down by the Japanese and delivering them to the American forces in the south of China. And so Ho Chi Minh was able to build an army with some support from the United States and was in a position to take over once the Japanese were defeated.
Com o passar dos anos, Ho Chi Minh juntara um exército considerável. O país atravessava uma grande vaga de fome que os camponeses do Vietnã atribuíam aos franceses e japoneses, que retinham o arroz para alimentar os seus soldados e os exportavam para o Japão. Quando o Japão transferiu o Vietnã para as mãos da Viet Minh, em 1945, cerca de 2 milhões de vietnamitas tinham morrido.
One of the problems at the end of the Second World War is it led into a variety of other wars, particularly in Indochina. And the Vietnam War, which the United States inherited from the French, which they had lost, was in fact inherited from Ho Chi Minh himself when he had been an ally of the United States. And I think that the basic problem was Ho Chi Minh was a nationalist, first and foremost, not a communist.
Since 1945, the American foreign policy was the containment of communism. There was the famous domino theory that if South Vietnam fell to the communists, so would Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, it would spread down the Malay Peninsula until Eventually, Australia would become communist, and one senator famously said, we don't want to start fighting them when they land on Waikiki Beach.
There's no question in my mind that these very intelligent men, McNamara and Rusk, really thought that it was the beginning of the communist takeover of the world. I mean, that famous domino theory, and they all believed it, and it was dead wrong.
The French finally built up to a point where Ho Chi Minh and the Viet Minh in the north decided to resist, and they started to attack the French in Hanoi in December of 1946. And the war, which lasted until 1954, began then.
Meanwhile, the situation in French Indochina grows graver as bitter fighting sweeps through Hanoi, leaving misery and destruction in its wake. French troops move up country to engage the well-equipped forces of the Vietnam Republic, who made a desperate but unsuccessful bid to massacre the entire French population of the city.
The French don't let Vietnam independent, and that just pushed the country into the communist hand, because everyone wanted to be independent, and only communist was organized, well organized.
The only intention, as far as I can tell, that Ho Chi Minh had about any other country was South Vietnam. President Eisenhower's refusal to help the French with airstrikes at the time of Bien Bien Phu. Ho Chi Minh was so able to marshal his forces, get Soviet aid in, and at the same time keep the Chinese from getting frantic about it and getting help from them as well. And then that was his determination with an extraordinarily brilliant general.
Over to the French fighting communism in Indochina as Ju-52 planes lend their weight in an all-out offensive against the red jungle strongholds of the Viet Minh forces.
Particularly after the fall of China to the Mao's communist regime and the start of the Korean War in 1949 and 1950, respectively, the United States began to give massive military support and political support to the French effort in Indochina from 1950.
The Americans were initially very reluctant to support them, but partly in exchange for support for France and NATO in Europe, the Americans decided to support France in Indochina, which led to American financial support and advisors and that sort of thing.
The fight for Indochina goes on. French pilots flying American planes take up where the big guns left off, blasting communist divisions which had infiltrated French positions in the Hanoi Delta.
For the next 4 years of that war, the United States paid for about 80% of the French military budget. And at the same time, the Chinese were supporting the Vietnamese independence movement led mostly by communists and fought mostly in the north.
Many people from the south, like everyone in Vietnam at that time, joined Viet Minh because their relationship, their involvement with resistance, they have the heart for it.
War comes to peaceful rice paddies, rich prize the Reds were hoping to seize, until the French, aided by the loyal Vietnamese, drove them into the sea. But from the backwaters of war come the helpless victims of aggression, the women, the children, the old and infirm. Communism passed their way. They have little left now but a spark of life that drives them on toward escape and sanctuary behind the French lines.
It's clear that people on all sides were fighting for different reasons. The Americans were fighting to stop this tide of communism that would sweep down from China through Vietnam into the rest of Indochina, the rest of Southeast Asia. The Vietnamese, some of them may have thought they were part of an international movement, but many of them were just fighting for their own personal reasons, to liberate the country against foreign occupiers or to get rid of the power of landlords and that kind of thing. The war that broke out in 1946 dragged on for 8 years and has its culmination at the Battle of Dien Bien Phu in 1954, where a very bold move by the French military goes completely wrong and they're outfought and outthought by the guerrillas under General Giap.
A Primeira Guerra da Indochina terminou após a Batalha de Dien Bien Phu, em 1954, que culminou com uma derrota decisiva de França. Os franceses aceitaram retirar todas as suas forças das colónias e decidiram a divisão do Vietnã numa conferência em Genebra. O Viet Minh assumiu o comando da República Democrática do Vietnã, no norte, presidida por Ho Chi Minh, e o sul tornou-se o Estado do Vietnã, governado nominalmente pelo imperador Bao Dai. Isto evitou que Ho Chi Minh assumisse o controle de todo o país. Após esta divisão entre o Vietnã do Norte e do Sul, os Estados Unidos passaram a encarar o Norte como uma ameaça comunista. O primeiro-ministro do Vietnã do Sul, Ngo Dinh Diem, tinha 2 anos para realizar eleições nacionais com vista à reunificação. No entanto, os Estados Unidos temiam que Diem fosse derrotado. No Norte, o Viet Minh criara a Frente de Libertação Nacional, liderada por Ho Chi Minh, também conhecida como Viet Cong, e iniciou uma guerra de guerrilha no sul do país, numa tentativa de assumir o comando.
President Diem came back to Vietnam with the acceptance from the last emperor Bao Dai. In a referendum, he ousted Bao Dai, sent him into exile in France, and he became president.
The South was still administered from Saigon until there was going to be an election which would then unite the country. When the Americans realized that they wouldn't win any election against the communists, they backed Prime Minister Diem in South Vietnam to set up an independent state so it would be analogous to North and South Korea.
Because of the influence of the Korean War upon American thinking, when the French lost at Dien Bien Phu, and Eisenhower had to decide what to do about the country, he decided to support the South Vietnamese government in place, and they supported that dreadful man Diem. Diem was like a South American dictator about whom some American general, I think, once said, he's a son of a bitch, but he's our son of a bitch. And that strain of thought ran through the American government when they looked at their allies around the world. And it was a mistake.
Half of the villages were under communist rule in 1954, and it wasn't clear who was going to come out on top. And indeed, the United States and the other political groups also expected that the communists would win.
It wasn't anything great American conspiracy to rule the world or anything. They just didn't want the Russians to take over when they realized that Soviet communism, as they saw it, was a menace, which it was. It would influence other parts of the world that they thought they could reach. And as a consequence, Vietnam, after the French were defeated at Dien Bien Phu, was a prime candidate for American help.
And so the Diem regime immediately turned its attention to the religious or the political religious sects in the Mekong Delta and attacked them first. And so there was fighting in the streets of Saigon in 1954 and 1955, and much of it spread to the Mekong Delta. There was a sort of civil war in the early days of the South Vietnamese regime.
As divisões e instabilidade no Vietnã continuaram. Os motins aumentaram em intensidade e o povo vietnamita continuava a olhar para Ho Chi Minh e para a Frente de Libertação Nacional como a chave para recuperarem a independência. Os Estados Unidos continuaram a vigiar atentamente a situação, temendo uma rápida ascensão do comunismo no Vietnã, que consideravam ser uma ameaça direta aos Estados Unidos. Esta situação convenceu o presidente Kennedy a enviar auxílio, o qual resultou no envio de mais de 500 mil soldados norte-americanos e numa guerra sangrenta que duraria 20 anos. Durante o século XX, o Vietnã fora invadido pela França e pela China. Assistir à criação da Indochina sob o jugo dos franceses e à introdução da cultura e da influência francesa nos anos seguintes. Após a derrota dos franceses na Batalha de Dien Bien Phu, a Conferência de Paz de Genebra dividiu o país, atribuindo o comando do Sul a Diem, apoiado pelos Estados Unidos. O Vietnã do Norte foi entregue à República Democrática do Vietnã, liderada por Ho Chi Minh. Este formou a Frente de Libertação Nacional, também conhecida como Viet Cong, e iniciou uma revolta contra o Sul. A Frente de Libertação Nacional começava a ganhar força no Vietnã. Para muitos vietnamitas, o Viet Minh era heróico. Para os líderes norte-americanos, Ho Chi Minh representava o comunismo e era uma séria ameaça.
For man holds in his mortal hand the power to abolish all forms of human poverty and all forms of human life. And yet the same revolutionary beliefs for which our forebears fought are still at issue around the globe.
The Viet Minh were able to recruit in the south, center, and north. The religious groups in the south were not able to recruit in the center and north. The Vietnamese Nationalist Party was more northern-based, and Ngo Dinh Diem's following was largely among Vietnamese Catholics, and particularly in his home base of central Vietnam. And so the Viet Minh built the biggest political organization. The Viet Minh were able to recruit the peasants, whereas most of the other political groups didn't show much interest.
It's a communist party that it's disciplined, there are lots of people, has the ability to take power from the top right down into the villages and mobilize large numbers of people.
By the early 1960s, Hanoi's policy shifted further again towards supporting the guerrilla war that was already developing fast in the south. Meanwhile, the United States had built up its own forces. They had surpassed the Geneva limit on foreign forces in South Vietnam.
The position of this administration has been carefully considered, and we have sought to make it just as clear as we know how to the governments concerned.
O presidente Kennedy promete ajuda a Diem. Não muito tempo antes, os Estados Unidos não tinham conseguido derrotar os comunistas na Coreia do Norte e não tencionavam perder novamente no Vietnã. Em 1961, 400 conselheiros especiais das Forças Especiais norte-americanas foram enviados para treinar soldados para a luta contra as guerrilhas Vietcongs lideradas por Ho Chi Minh. Em outubro desse ano, o general Maxwell Taylor informa o presidente e aconselha-o a aumentar o número de conselheiros militares e a enviar 8.000 soldados de infantaria. O número de soldados enviados por Kennedy acabaria por ultrapassar os 16.000 até 1963.
It was a serious mistake for Kennedy to get involved, as he did, with American force in that part of the world, thinking that this great monolithic Soviet-style communism would rule the roost, when he could have played it differently, I believe, and fought it more subtly.
The great word that the Vietnam War gave us was escalation, because it starts off with Kennedy sending in just 400 military advisors who are actually special forces, organising and controlling the action, and then more go in, and then more go in.
He should have fought it with the limited aid he gave initially, with the development of the special forces, the Green Berets as they're called, and other small tactical units, and not created this great surge of North Vietnamese resentment.
South Vietnam is already under attack, sometimes by a single assassin, sometimes by a band of guerrillas, recently by full battalions. The peaceful borders of Burma, Cambodia, and India have been repeatedly violated, and the peaceful people of Laos are in danger of losing the independence they gained not so long ago.
The eventual result was that the United States decided that the South would lose very quickly if it didn't change policy, and that the United States needed to move in with regular forces on a large scale.
The Chinese, whether communists or nationalists, were age-old
regime of South Vietnam's President Ngo Dinh Diem comes to an end in a wave of violence. A few days before the army revolt, these last pictures showed a man who seemed to have no premonition of the horrible death he was to meet as a wave of rebellion.
Em Saigão, a situação complicava-se. A resistência dos Vietcongs contra Diem acabaria por provocar a sua morte.
Mortar fire concentrates on tanks and armored carriers blocking the way to the palace. For 2.5 hours, the palace comes under heavy bombardment before the white flag is raised. Meanwhile, Diem and his brother, Ngo Dinh Nhu, had fled the palace in disguise. They were later captured, only to die in an armored car that was taking them to prison.
3 semanas depois, os Estados Unidos seriam abalados pelo assassinato do presidente Kennedy, a 22 de novembro de 1963.
At 1:25, the motorcade moves into the downtown area. Death is 6 minutes away. In a warehouse, a sniper with a rifle poised waits. The cheers of the crowd almost muffle the 3 shots. The assassin's aim is deadly.
From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago. Vice President Lyndon Johnson has left the hospital in Dallas, but we do not know to where he has proceeded. Presumably, he will be taking the oath of office shortly and become the 36th President of the United States.
Na sequência do assassinato, Lyndon Johnson herdou a presidência. O país estava em caos. O deteriorar da situação no Vietnã havia sido o principal problema de Kennedy e Johnson tinha agora de lidar com o envolvimento norte-americano no Vietnã e a derrota do comunismo.
President Johnson, for all his great virtues, wasn't very strong on foreign policy. He had been in the Navy during the Pacific War, and he believed, one, that overwhelming force worked militarily, and number 2, he was a great Texan wheeler dealer. He figured if he waved the big stick, he could negotiate with Ho Chi Minh. Ho Chi Minh
Após o assassinato de John F. Kennedy em novembro de 1963, Lyndon Johnson tornou-se o 36º presidente dos Estados Unidos. Johnson herdou uma crise económica que levou a que declarasse guerra à pobreza. Mas Johnson herdara outro conflito, uma guerra contra o comunismo e o compromisso dos Estados Unidos para com o Vietnã. O aumento da força dos Vietcongs e a ascensão do comunismo exigia o envio de mais recursos por parte de Johnson. Mas até então, este resistira à tentação de intensificar o envolvimento. No entanto, em agosto de 1964, o presidente Johnson decidiu agir após o que acontecera no Golfo de Tonkin.
Destroyers of the United States Navy are assigned routine patrols from time to time. Sunday, August the 2nd, 1964, the destroyer Maddox was on such a patrol. Shortly after noon, the calm of the day is broken as general quarters sound.
When the Gulf of Tonkin, inverted commas, incident comes along, and there's a spurious report that American warships have been attacked by Vietnamese patrol boats, they use this as an excuse.
The Gulf of Tonkin incident illustrates this capability for instant retaliation against unprovoked attack.
O comandante do USS Maddox comunicara que 3 lanchas torpedeiras norte-vietnamitas tinham alegadamente disparado sobre o navio, retratando-se de seguida, dizendo que fora um problema climatérico e não um ataque. No entanto, o presidente Johnson ignorou a retratação e ordenou o bombardeamento das bases navais e de depósitos de combustível.
President Lyndon Johnson obtained almost unanimous approval from the US Congress to escalate the war in Vietnam, and bombing aircraft was sent north.
He knew everyone on Capitol Hill. He could get anything through that he wanted. They gave him this Gulf of Tonkin resolution, which he said it was like grandmother's nightshirt. It covered everything. And it just gave him carte blanche to fight how he wished.
Hostilidades militares de larga escala tinham começado no Vietnã. Os Vietcongs responderam com um ataque à bomba sobre uma base da Força Aérea dos Estados Unidos.
One of the major impacts of the United States build-up of ground troops in South Vietnam was that the communist guerrillas in the South started recruiting at an increased level themselves. And in fact, from 1964 to 1965, the communist guerrillas quadrupled their recruitment. Meanwhile, the United States was building up its forces at an even faster rate to hundreds of thousands.
The American commitment on the ground in South Vietnam rises from 12,000 to 200,000. And suddenly, everyone in America